Today, I'm going to start a new series where I interview nurses who have taken my course on how to start their infusion businesses. The reason I want to do this is because it's not a one size fits all on starting your business. And so I want to interview some nurses who have gone through my course and kind of see what their startup process was like. And especially if you're a nurse who is in the state of the nurse we're interviewing, it may be very beneficial to you as well. So today we are going to start off. And if you want to tell us your name and state you're from, and we'll get started off.
So my name is Amber Curry. I'm in the state of Texas, which is different than Tiffany. She's in Oklahoma, so there was a lot of different digging to do, but she led me the right way. Definitely.
And reminds me, so from the time, or when did you take the course? How long ago was it?
It was in the middle of June.
The middle of June. Okay, sounds good. And then from the time that you took the course, how many months did it take you to launch your business?
We launched in the middle. It was a soft launch in the middle of November, but fully launched at the end of November this year.
July,
So
August.
about 5.5, 6 months
Yeah, that's
ish.
not bad. I feel like that's pretty average. So, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember, but it took me 2 months to get started, and that was real
Well, when you
fast.
said two
Yeah.
months, I was like, I got this. 2 months.
2 months
Yeah.
was like I didn't sleep much for 2 months and without it was just but five I would say probably 3 to 6 is about like the average. And personally, and you'll have to tell me if you agree too, I think a lot of that depends on legalities and waiting on the lawyer to get back to like clarify things. Is that how you felt as
Yes.
well?
Absolutely. That's the biggest holdup. That's the biggest cost, but the most necessitative, that's not even a word. That's the best thing you can do is start there with legal. Like that
Oh,
you don't start anywhere but with legal.
agreed. I
And
agree.
I've seen people not do it and it's not good. So
Oh, me too. There's some people in
and
my little location that I'm like, we've done infusions for the patients, and they're like, oh no, we didn't talk to a provider. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. I'm not gonna say anything, but it's okay. Okay, so let's see, I know we started mobile infusion. What drove you to start the business?
so after 16 years at the bedside, I just started to see some things in healthcare in general that I didn't like. We started to move away from patient care and more toward the bottom dollar, and that's not me. I'm one of those that cares about my patients, forming relationships, getting to know my people. And unfortunately, the way that most hospitals are structured, you're not able to do that. So I was ready to get away,
Oh,
which I'm still at bedside, by
yeah,
the way.
it was
Probably
your
will be for a
goal.
while.
Is that your goal to like start the business to kind of transition out as well? Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that's the number one. People always want more flexibility. Um, they say pay. I mean, actually, potentially, you can make quite a bit more than you make bedside doing this. It just takes time to build up, which I tell people all the time. But I think sometimes nurses are like, "Oh, I'm going to start," and then they're all going to flow in, and you're like, "Well, it takes time, and you have to build that up." But I mean, I've been doing it for a little over a year and a half now, and I mean, we're kind of getting close to where I made more than what I made at the hospital, which is great because when you have like, when you're a mobile IV therapy business, the overhead is a lot less than I think what people realize. So I would be curious. Whenever I started, I remember I counted everything in infusion. So I'm like, I know I have to have at least 5 infusions to cover my bills. Is it
Mhm.
similar for you, or how is it? What would you say with your like monthly
So
overhead?
definitely the overhead's way less mobile. The biggest cost monthly for me is my medical director. And I know
Okay.
that's not the case for you, but it is for me. That's my biggest cost. Other than that, it's going to be any kind of platform that you use, your insurances that you cover, and then your all your, materials. That's the biggest. That was my medical director.
Okay, we're going to circle back around to that. I did want to go back to how long it took you to start up. How long did you think it would take you to start your business?
Oh, when you said that you didn't sleep and you got going in 2 months, I was like, yes, I can do that. 2 months. Well, 2 months came and went. 3 months, same thing. And I'm starting to like doubt myself. And I'm like, what's going on? Why can't I get this going? And honestly, most of the time was back and forth with the lawyer. The lawyer, the doctor, the lawyer, the doctor, the wording, the verbiage, all the things. And each time we go back and forth, that money cost some more money. So
Oh,
that's what my biggest cost was, and that's what's taken the longest is that.
oh, I mean, that's good to hear it's about the lawyer because there's another girl that I'm helping with her business right now. And she was telling me yesterday, she goes, I feel like the lawyer is taking a long time to get back to me. And I was like, well, I've only used a lawyer a handful of times. When the lawyer I used for this, I feel like it was like a week. Like I would message them and a week later. And to me, that was a while because I'm like, I can't do this until you answer this. And
Yes,
but I
that's
didn't
right.
know like you should do this process and then this. So it was for me like I had already paid for certain things and then the lawyer got back to me and I was like, oh my gosh, if they don't give me this answer, we just wasted thousands of dollars here. I'm telling you, I did not sleep much. I think that aged me a lot. It was so
That's
stressful.
why your course was so good because you cut out all that extra questioning. Because going into the course, I thought, there's no way. Like she has got to be some mogul that knows somebody, like something. And then I came out of the course going, I got this.
No,
I got this.
I just got burned and wasted a lot of money. So I was like, oh dear Lord.
Mhm.
So there's really, in my personal opinion, there are courses that will teach you how to do this. I mean, I took one and it was a couple thousand
Seen
dollars.
them
And I think from
thousands.
that, I was like, there's not a lot of resources for nurses. What I found, the ones that I've looked at were not from nurses' point of views. And so sometimes you have like professionals, like the one I took, it was like a business person and then I think a nurse practitioner. But a lot of them talked over my head on stuff. And I was like, this might seem very basic to you, but I have zero idea what you're talking about. And it just was like
Mhm.
stressful because I'm like, well, that was
Yeah.
not helpful, but we'll figure it
I've
out.
got more
So
questions now than I had before.
literally, I know. And then there wasn't really any support afterwards. And I was just like, huh, all right, well, here we go. Um, roughly, how much did you spend starting your business up for just like all the startup costs, including insurance, like all startup?
All of the startup probably was around 14,000, and a lot of that, most of that was legal fees. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just because I don't, you don't know exactly what you're getting into. And if you word something wrong and it has to be flipped around 2 weeks later, it's more money, and you
Oh,
just don't
yeah.
know it till you know it. You can't predict those things.
Yep. Oh, I agree. I know something that bothered me, and I am a crazy person. I think I'm too competitive. I already know. But I see on like TikTok, like some people who teach courses too. And there was one that I saw, and this person was like, yeah, it should only cost originally it was like a couple thousand to start up. And then I think the most recent one I saw was like 4 to 5. And I was like, I hate that because first of all, that's not true, but you don't know what you don't know. And so my only thought is I'm like, well, maybe they went to the wrong type of lawyer. Cause then like what type of lawyer did you use? Did you
I
oh
I I searched out a healthcare lawyer, and it took a fine tooth comb. We're here in East Texas. There's lots of lawyers everywhere, but the ones that know the business is what you got to find. And that also took some interview processes and some money for interviews and whatever. So it just takes. It's
yeah,
not, finite. You just have to find it yourself.
yeah. And
But I
I
wouldn't have known to do that if it wasn't for your course,
oh
because you told us that.
yes. And I think that's when at least for me in the beginning, I was like, okay, a lawyer. And then I think what I've seen on TikTok and I think why it was so much cheaper was because they were just recommending. I have not verified. I just don't look at their stuff anymore. But I'm like, it had to have just been like a general business lawyer. And I would be, if you went and talked to one, I'm sure they're like, yeah, I can type everything up, but they don't know scope of practice. And that's like the
Mhm.
biggest, part with structuring your stuff and writing your consents and everything else. But I'm so glad that makes me happy. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And I always
Yeah.
estimate like when nurses ask, they're like 10 to, I just say 10 to 15,000. Biggest part is legalities. And I think when I put it into perspective, because it sounds like a lot, but then when I'm like, well, how much are cars nowadays? Because I bought a car like, last weekend. And I mean, I was like, you know what? This is actually like a cheap car cost to like start a business that, down the road can completely like really change your life. So I think
Mhm.
that mindset for me, I was like, okay, this isn't terrible. Did you look into franchising at all? Or were you all just like, you knew you wanted to start?
I when I started to look to get away from the bedside, I looked at mobile IV, not mobile IV, but IV companies and franchises. That was just way too much money for me to jump into without knowing what was going. Like I really just that was too much. You're
Yeah.
talking about anywhere from vetting yourself 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 before you can even apply for a franchise. Like,
Was it brick
let's
and mortar?
yeah, it was all brick and mortar, but of course now you're providing the brick and mortar. This
Uh-huh.
is just the brand and the name and the advertisement and stuff.
Oh,
So
I
it's
saw
like,
that too. I actually looked into both and I was like, which one do we want to do? And then when I saw they're like, you have to put at least this much down. And then I was like terrified. I was like, I don't know what all that includes. I just saw the number and was like, oh my gosh, no. And it makes me wonder. So in Texas, how is IV therapy? Do people do it for more the prevention standpoint, or do they just know more of a like it can save me a trip to urgent care, ER, whatever?
that's so we're working to try and get preventative and healthcare, preventative stuff. But right now it's more of reactive or pre-party mode or that kind of thing. Save me a trip to the ER.
Yeah.
Here deep in East Texas, we like our fried foods. And so preventative's not really on the forefront really. But we're trying to change that. I'm trying to change that
Yeah.
one patient at a time. But
Yeah.
yes, right now it's reactive versus proactive.
Yeah. And I think it's more of a state population type thing because we're the same way in Oklahoma. I looked up whatever the most recent one, it said Oklahoma was like the 47th unhealthiest state. And I was like, sounds about right.
I mean,
But
we like our fried stuff.
I
We
know.
do like stuff fried.
Yes, we do. But I have found, and I hope this gives people hope as well. And I mean, hopefully even you as well. Most of our infusions that we do are actually the preventative. It's all about how much you educate and like help people know the just how it works. Because when people understand how it works and how, let me rephrase, once they understand, okay, if I do infusions like this often and if this is in it, then I'm going to have more energy. It does take a couple months. And I think that's the biggest thing is letting them know it's like you're not going to get the infusion and feel like $1,000,000 tomorrow unless you're like dehydrated. And
Right.
that has helped so much. I mean, that's really how we've grown our business, and it helps from a business standpoint, and also it helps our patients, and especially for
Yeah.
us. I don't know why summer is just slow, and so it helps when you have enough like monthly patients that you're like it covers your bills and you can breathe, but you also
Yeah.
helping them. So
Right.
If you are a nurse, specifically an RN who is tired of working bedside or just looking for more flexibility with a job, I can help. My name is Tiffany. I am an RN who left bedside and does mobile IV therapy full time, and I help other nurses be able to do the same thing. I have a whole community of nurses that are either doing the same thing now or working to get their mobile IV therapy businesses up and going. And so how I help is I teach the business aspect, the legality aspect, and the vitamin education and protocol. So from the business aspect, you learn everything that you would need to know to successfully start your business from the ground up. Legally, I go over everything that you need to verify and know within your state. That way you can start your business with peace of mind, not having the lingering feeling of, did I do that right? Is something going to happen to my license? I just don't know. You will have peace of mind that you have structured everything correctly. And also, on the medical side, you'll have the vitamin education, the protocols, the dosing. You will learn everything that you need to successfully start up your business from the ground up. It may look different from someone that's in a different state from you, but there's several different ways you can start it, and it all depends on your state technicalities and legalities, and that is what I teach. So what you get in my community, I teach a live Zoom. That is your first step, and it covers all the content that I talked about. You also get access to my self-paced, which is it's more content and more resources and more education and more templates for you to have to make the startup more smooth. You also get the live recording of the Zoom for you to reference throughout your startup process. And then I also have a Facebook group that I invite you to after the Zoom. That way, if you have questions along the way, you still have access to me and other people or other nurses who have taken my course. That way we can kind of help each other along the process. If you'd like more information, there is a link in the bio that you can register or kind of look at more course specifics.
what was your biggest legal or compliance hurdles within your state?
Ironing out the MSA, MSO agreements between this person and this company and that company, and not knowing the terminology, which I probably should have did a little bit more research on that prior to getting into this. But luckily, my healthcare lawyer broke it down and was like, "Look, you need this here, you need that there." And then I also called the board of nursing because I was like, "Look, this is what I'm doing." And basically, I got told that in the state of Texas and anywhere right now, this branch of nursing is a gray area. So
Mhm.
as long as you're practicing safe, you have a medical director and you have a provider that's doing your good faith exams, you're pretty much okay. But just like nurses know when they start cracking down, then they're going to start weeding out, and the ones that don't have, the consents and the policies and the procedures and all that, that's the ones that are going to get in trouble. So
Yeah. Is Texas a corporate practice of medicine state? Like, did you?
no.
No. Okay. Good, good, good.
Mm-mm.
Because I know that Oklahoma isn't either. And so I don't know all the in and outs of that. I just know I always teach like, if your state or is a CPOM, you need to ask the lawyer about this, just because I didn't have to deal with it. But I know that does in those states, just for people who don't know, pretty much that means that the nurse cannot own 100% of the business. You can own 100% of the business side, but the medical portion, you have like two LLCs. The physician has the order or own the like infusion side, just because the purpose of it, they do not want business decisions to dictate medical decisions. And so I'm glad Texas isn't one of those, but I just know that's
I
more
don't think, no, I don't think so. No, because we
lawyer
had
would have
talked
told
about
you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been on the forefront.
Oh
But
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, we'll cut
So
that.
in Texas, are nurses or RNs allowed to compound? Like, can you mix your infusions?
So under USP 797 is what we practice, right? You can only have your two sterile products per infusion that you're adding to the bag. Now, if you're a push, that's different. IM, that's different.
Yes.
That is how we practice. Now, as far as compounding, we are under the ready to mix or ready to use or use to mix. It's like
Immediate.
right,
Yeah.
immediate use. That's what it is. That's the word. Immediate use. That's what we fall under. So we've got so much time after we've mixed the bag and it's got to go.
Yes.
And if it doesn't go, then it's bad.
Yes. I will
Yeah.
say, and it's something you could always check with your board of pharmacy. I was mixing two things in there, and then the board of pharmacy came back because I just asked them, and they said you can actually. I think it's a state by state because every state can read the rules differently, But they said
Mhm.
I can actually mix three things in there, and because they count the fluids as like a base instead of a
So like a diluents. Yeah.
so
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the stuff, you can give IV push or IM anyways, but it actually helps having that third ingredient. Just
Hmm.
it helps. So
Well, and I've seen, and this is like TikTok watching, but because once you get on the feed of IV infusion nurses, they all pop up.
yes,
But I've seen ladies with like 6 and 7 different vials that they're pulling, inject, and I'm going,
you can't do
why?
that.
Why would? No, please don't do that.
Yes,
Then please don't glorify that.
yes, and that I mean that
No.
just goes to show because mobile IV therapy is so unregulated, and so if you do have a nurse that starts this and they're doing that, unless that's unfortunately, I feel like unless someone's harmed, like that's not going to get addressed. And
It's not.
you can mix more than three. You're just like she's saying, you're no longer mixing under the immediate use. It's more category one. So you have to have like a hood, and there's a whole nother like slew of regulations you have to follow that you literally cannot
Not mobile.
stay compliant being mobile doing
Yeah.
that. So
Not unless you're a billionaire with like a big celebrity bus and some hoods and
you're
all
right.
the things. No,
Right.
no.
Yep. Oh, you're so right. Okay. How did you find your medical director, and what advice would you give nurses who feel intimidated by being able to find one?
So there was a lot of ways I tried to go, but I didn't feel comfortable after meeting the provider. And it came back down to my hometown. We've got a small hospital here in town. I've worked with several MDs over the years. I approached one and said, "Hey, what do you think?" She said, "I don't know anything about that. Please get it in writing, of course." And we went back and forth for months about the legalities and what she would be responsible for, all the things. Finally, she agreed, and it just took a while, and it takes a lot of money every month to keep them
Yeah.
doing what they need to do.
Yes. One thing I will say, and I think that's so good you said that when you said that she was not familiar with like the IV vitamin aspects, that is so normal. And I feel like a lot of nurses, you may not be like this, but I mean, I used to think, oh, it's a doctor, they know all of this stuff. Unless
Yeah,
it's
I
a
thought that.
functional like physician, they
Hmm.
really normally don't know the IV vitamin education. Like I know, as you know, like our husband's one of our physicians. We have a couple now, but I mean, it's been a learning process, like for all of us, because you're just not taught it. You're more taught, and even in medical school, because we've had this talk, like here's the recommended dose for vitamins, like per day per the FDA, but like that's it. So
That's it.
mhm,
Yeah.
it's
And
definitely like
that's
a
that's a
learning.
part that's been difficult. And just putting it out there. I have just launched. So all of this other stuff is really outside of the hospital realm of knowledge as far as the vitamins go. So
Yeah.
I'm really having to dig deep. And we did do a little bit of that in the class,
Yeah.
but that's what spurred me on to like learn more about what's in a multivitamin. What are they calling a B complex? What are they calling a, B12 is different than B complex, like all of those different glutathione. Then you got vitamin C. Like there's just stuff we're not taught as nurses. And so that's what I was uncomfortable about the most. And so I've just had to do a lot of research on it.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, so I'm assuming you're still like doing research and like continuing to learn. Is that right? Or
Yeah. Oh
what
yeah,
is
always learning.
what is the like how are you doing that? Like what is like do you use YouTube? Do you like what do you do?
So, first of all, and this might sound bad, but I'll Google a little bit of something, right? And just try to figure out what I'm talking about, get a general idea. And then I'll go to places like WebMD. And then there's one called Vita MD. I don't know if you've heard of it,
Mhm.
but it's got like the vitamins and the solularity, and that's probably not the word, solubility.
Yes.
And remember when we did solubility in your class? And I was
Osmolarity.
like, huh,
Yes. The
what?
osmolarity.
Osmolarity.
Yeah.
Yes, that word. That's when I was like, okay, wait a minute. Am I getting in too deep here? What? So I worked a few problems out from the class.
Oh,
And I
good.
was like, I got this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. But yes, no, and I'll always run it by my medical director. She's now getting familiar and she's done her own research. So it's coming together. It's just we started off with semaglutide.
Hmm.
People just love the semaglutide around here. So we just breathe and eat semaglutide.
Yeah.
But and that's been a learning curve as well.
Yeah.
Um, but starting out, that's that's really where I'm getting most of my stuff from. And
Okay.
multiple sources. It's not just one.
Yo, for sure. There's another resource that would I think could be helpful if you would like. Got it. I learned a lot. So on YouTube, there's a guy named Dr. Paul Anderson, and he is I'm probably gonna get this wrong. I think he's like a functional oncologist, natural something like that. Naturopathic, but he also his main was oncology. And so he has so many videos, especially on glutathione, NAD, vitamin C. He has all of them, but those are the first three going out that he talks about how it works at the cellular level. Like he takes very complex and
Get
makes it
down.
very simple. Yeah. And once I mean, I've listened to a ton of stuff, but I've listened to like hundreds of hours of stuff. And he's very knowledgeable. He like teaches physicians how, like, he's a reputable source. And I think he really clicked or connected a lot of the dots when it helped me realize, oh, vitamin C works like this. NAC, which is, part of glutathione, works like this. NAD works like this. And then I was like, oh, so if they're deficient in this, they have this symptom. And then that's kind of how it connected about like the preventative side. Cause I was like, this all makes sense. Well, it makes sense to give this, but if they just get it once, it's not going to do a whole lot. So this is
Right.
why we do it monthly.
You
So
know what? You should do another class on vitamins.
you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I would pay money. I would sit here and watch and pay money like free and take all the notes.
Well,
I just think that's cool.
I do too. I might I've been just doing a lot of time is a thing. I'm like between like doing this and then running our infusion business,
Yeah.
but I like to educate on YouTube. So really, I was looking today. I have a couple videos on NAD and glutathione, and those have done really well, which of course I'm like, oh, they want to learn more about this. So really, I'll probably just end up posting a lot of it on YouTube.
On
So
YouTube.
FR,
Is it, which handle are you using?
it's Nurse Tiffy
Nurse Tippy. Okay.
with two Y's.
Um,
And then let's see. I don't know if you ever look at the self pace. So as I learn new stuff, yeah,
all the
I'm
time.
always updating stuff. And I have like a couple sticky notes of things I want to add to that document with all the vitamin education. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
That, yeah.
Hmm.
So I will add that, and that's going to be updated at some point here. And then I actually went through and recorded instead of one long video of just like all the vitamins. I have like individual videos for each one, and I really just need to upload those in the self pace. So that will probably be more in depth too. So I hope that
Yeah,
helps.
well,
I'm always working on
that's
stuff.
another good thing. That's another awesome thing about your course is that the afterwards. So yeah, we sat through 5 hours of jam-packed information that was all wonderful.
Yeah,
But when you
it's a
get
lot.
3 weeks down the road, you're like, wait a minute, what did she say about pull it up. There it is. So what did she say about, oh, there it is. So it was such an easy reference and easy to navigate. So
Good. Good.
that's
That
what I
makes me
loved
so
about it.
happy. That's like the whole reason I made the course. There was a YouTube comment that some random troll commented last week, and they, I don't know, whoever this person was, they
That's the
always have one
problem.
follower. You can't tell by their name. I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like they just go and write hateful comments. But their comment was something along the lines of like, um, yeah, this must be such a successful business model. She's teaching a course and charging for that because she's not making enough with infusions. And I was like, or I just like to teach. I'm like, I just do this on the side. And I had a nice little reply. It wasn't hateful, but I just was like, I actually just care about helping people. And I just had
Hmm.
such a rough startup that I was like,
Yeah.
I like to teach. And so I'd rather help like nurses with it. But that made me so angry. So whenever I see
Yeah.
like when I always ask,
Consider the source. Always consider the source.
yes, yeah, true, but
One follower, one person,
yeah, I
whatever.
just was like, whatever. But it just helps because I like getting feedback about it. And I've gotten, let me just knock on some wood. I have had nothing but positive feedback, which I'm just waiting. I'm like, someone please tell me something that I need to change because this is for you guys. Like if it sucked, please tell me, because I really do this for nurses. Like, I mean, that's really the whole reason I created.
And that's who you're talking to is nurses. And we're coming to you like, oh my God, what do I do? And you're just like this calm little being. And you're just like, yes, we can do this. And this is how. And it was just so very calm. And I just remember sitting there going, you know what? I got this. Now, of course,
Yeah.
after the course and reality sets in. Hmm.
Yes.
And
And
then
that's
you're like at the lawyer going,
no, that's
what?
normal. It's
What?
good. Yes. I know for me that whenever I decided to take the course that I took, that was like for me, my like, okay, we're all in. We've just paid a
Hmm.
couple of thousand. The course I took was like $3,000. So of course that was a lot to me. And I was like, all right, well, we've already spent money, so let's just keep going. And I mean, it's been a great thing. And I will say, even because we've been open, a little over a year and a half, but there still have been times, like even though we've done well the whole time, knock on wood, that I have been like, should I even be doing this? It would be easier just to quit and go back to bedside. And I feel like if nurses don't know that that's like a normal thought, because some people get that and they're like, okay, that's my
Yeah.
sign to quit. Don't quit. Like it is
No.
completely normal. This is just, we were not taught all of this business stuff. And it is a learning curve. And especially marketing's kicked my butt. And that's been the hardest part that I have been fine tuning since we started. But
Yeah.
I'll get to that more as well.
I was gonna
Okay.
say that's another thing.
I have some tips that can help you on that. Let's
Mm.
see. Now I am curious. Do you mind me asking? And if you don't feel comfortable, please tell me. I don't, it does not matter. How much do you pay your medical director each month?
She's actually very reasonable. I had quotes from 1,500, 1,300.
Oh,
She's
geez.
actually only charging me 750 a month.
I would say that's actually not terrible. I think starting out, especially when you don't have all the clients built up, it's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Hmm. And
But
it is.
yes. But
But she's also one that I could go to and be like, "Hey, look,
SOS.
can we cut it up in week format or can
Yeah.
we,
Good, good, good.
she would totally be okay with that." So,
Good,
but for so
good.
far, we're just gonna pray and
Yeah.
continue on.
Good, good. It'll all be okay. And we'll get to marketing in a little bit, which I can help. I have some more tips. Um,
Hey, I got my pen ready.
looking back, what did you underestimate like the most time wise about starting the process? Was it like the legalities, like what part of that?
It was the legalities. Absolutely up and down all around. And only because I thought this day and age, oh, email, boop, it'll come back. We're not the only client of our lawyer. And
Yeah.
my lawyer happened to be moving buildings across town and all kinds of things. So it was a hot mess for a while. But yes, the legal process took the most money and the most time, and I underestimated that big time.
Yes, and yes, I think we all do. I remember when she first told me my retainer for my lawyer, we paid 7,500, and my thought was because I was like, I don't feel like that should take all of that, and my husband was like, no, we're not getting that back. Like whatever retainer you get, they're going to use all of that. And I was like, okay, but I mean, I just haven't had a lot of run with lawyers other than this. But anyways, it was so worth
Mhm.
it. And the peace of mind that I have knowing that I'm
That's it.
doing things the right way has helped.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you did launch, how did you get your first few clients?
So this is, and I thought about answering this without being too specific. Every morning on the way to the hospital, I visit a certain um, stop and go kind of a place, donuts, drinks, whatever. And I just casually said, hey, I just launched my business. I handed them a business card. On my business card, I have a QR code that links to my Jane website for booking. And immediately, within 30 minutes, had 3 appointments booked.
That is awesome. Okay, what
And I
infusions
was
were
like,
they?
semaglutide.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it
not
wasn't
infusions.
huge to start with, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Okay.
opening the door.
What was the first, I guess, like way that you got your like infusion patients?
So that was my husband. He
Okay.
works out in the oil field, so he's constantly dehydrated.
Oh yeah.
And so I just told him, I said, look, we've got this and this and this. Why don't we do, just a normal bag of saline with some B complex, whatever you think. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, whatever you think. Well, so then that's how I also found out that so Jane, the platform I use for scheduling and payments, they allow for HSA accounts, which is huge around here because most of the businesses, oil and gas, they have HSA accounts. So yes, that's what we were doing, was testing it, and it worked. So he got the first one. Was this past week.
Okay. Do you use Square at all? Like for the
No,
vendor?
I looked into Square, but they have a thing called Jane Payment now.
Uh-huh.
That's like Square, but it's for Jane, and they can track everything in and out. The only thing is, I'm able to type in their information on site at the time of the appointment. So the just being able to tap and go and all that's pretty cool, but like, do I really need it right now? I've decided against it for right now. When
I
I get bigger, I might want it.
Yeah, what I have found, and again, it's everyone's is different. So I use Square and Jane. I use Jane for the memberships because I mean, it can track all of that and run everything, and it's very easy. I use Square, especially now that I have like nurses. Um, Square pops up the auto tipping, and of course, like your nurses, that is a huge part to them is that tip because our like when my nurse is going to keep 100%. And of course, we don't push tipping on anyone. If no one tips, we're like, okay, we're not expecting that. But it makes it
Right.
less awkward, I have found, than Jane. I even bought their Jane. Do you know what I'm talking about? They have like their
The little,
handheld.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it it didn't do what I thought it was going to do, so I ended up returning it. But it's nice because at least on Square, it auto pops that up, and they actually also accept HSA and FSA.
Oh,
Square
good.
does. You just have to call them and say, "Hey, I'm a medical clinic," and then they have like a code they add to your account, and it's like, from what I've learned, there's different levels of codes. Um, and it's like they put the most broad one on yours. So they're like, it might not cover everyone's, but I feel like HSA and FSAs are so lax now. You can go buy stuff on Amazon that I've never had
Yeah.
any issue with it. But that's just
That's
something that
great.
I have
That
found.
was something I didn't know about.
Yeah.
That's another thing when you mentioned memberships. So I'll probably talk to you offline about that because that's a whole nother set of things.
Yeah.
But that's something for one I'll get back with you on because I got
I can help.
got some questions with that.
Sounds good. The other thing is, okay, so now, um, like what marketing are you doing for like specifically the infusion side, not like the semi-glutide?
So what I did originally was the business cards with the QR code. Then our local radio station was running a special for the end of the year, and luckily our championship football team, they went to the state championship. So not only did I get blasted throughout the radio 5 days a week or 7 days a week, I also got a video clip commercial in the state games, which was huge for around here.
Oh, that's
So I was visible to a lot of people. And
yeah.
then of course me working around in town, I wear my little t-shirts that I made them myself actually. I pressed them on my own press. But I wear those around town everywhere I go because that's free advertisement.
Yeah.
And I now have people stopping me in Walmart and wanting cards and wanting to know more and so I'm picking up. It's picking up.
Yay. So a couple, do you want my recommendations? I just am like, what else
Yes.
could you add? What I
Yes.
have found, I think it's good that you had the ad. So every time I think about this, in my city I'm in, there's these two brothers, and I don't know if they own, I don't even know, something with air conditioning units. And they're like, I've seen their commercials so much that it's like when you think of HVAC, I just think of them. And I'm like, ooh, so the more they can see your face, I think,
Mhm.
TV ads are great. But social media as well. But I just feel like not many
Right.
people utilize TV ads anymore. I would love to do that at some point. And I just haven't looked into it because in my mind, I'm like, it's going to be expensive. But becoming that face of like IV therapy, oh, that girl does, like that's a big thing.
Mhm.
It just made me think about that with you doing that ad. The other thing is,
Mhm.
on your business cards, and I do this at some events, if you put whatever discount on there, like 10% off, or we do a lot of free B12s with your first appointment, because I think it
Mhm.
costs us like $3 for like the all of that. So I mean, we're not out much, but we have a
Mhm.
lot of people that book just because they're like, ooh, free B12. But if on your thing you put like, when you're handing them out and it says something on the back like 10% off, valid within the next 30 days, that encourages them to book with you, and especially in like a little window of time. I found that to be helpful, especially events are normally whenever I'm out talking to people, but if you're just meeting people, like that's another good thing.
Wow.
Another
It's a
thing that
great
I have
idea.
found that has been working actually really well within the last month, because it's all trial and error, this, and not like a one, it's all the different marketing you do, not just like a single thing. I tried Meta ads. I did not use any paid advertising for the first 10 months, and we did fine, but I did a ton of events and I did a ton of discounts on social media. But I did start getting into the paid Meta ads. I would not recommend. They did not work well. I think they might work well in like a busy state or busy like Dallas or, somewhere like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, I feel like Tulsa's a big city, but I guess it's not big compared to some of the other ones. Would not recommend. So I was like, those aren't working. What else can I do? Google ads have been actually very helpful. And if you think about it, when you're on Facebook and you're scrolling and see an ad, most of the time you're not looking to buy something. But if you go to Google, typically you're like looking to buy something or book something, right? Like that's why you go to Google to either look something up or book it.
Mhm.
So I have spent too much money on marketing and it not worked. So I started at a really low budget, and I have a guy who's been helping me. I actually started my own Google ads and they were working really well. So I like did all the research on how many people should be clicking my ads, and how if 100 people see it, how what's a good number of how many click on the ad. And it was actually doing very well, but nobody was booking. And so of course I'm like, okay, well my system's semi working, why are people not booking?
Why are we not coming all the way? Yeah.
And so what I learned, and I'm not going to switch from Jane, but I found people have a hard time booking through Jane because they think it's like a complex booking system. And I'm like, really, is it? So anyways, if you've had people booking with you though, then, keep on, maybe it's
Yeah.
here,
But I
but
mean, this is a good second hand. Hey, go here too as well.
right.
Do you
Well,
have to have a website, like your own personal website, before you can do a Google ad?
yes. And that is, I haven't tried setting it up without one, but typically, yes. And what I found too, and this is why people weren't converting. So if you are running an ad for specifically like an immune system, whatever, and then they click on it and it's just going to your homepage of your website, it is impressive how much people will not book because they think they're going to a page that is going to talk all about your immune system infusion. So I found a guy and he like made, I run 3 different ads. And so he made 3 different pages, targeted the immune system, whatever my ads are. And from the time that he did that, and we've been doing it like 2 weeks now, I've had probably like 10 to 15 people book it within the 10, the whatever 2 weeks. Like, and I'm running a
Oh,
very low
wow.
budget. So this is like the most that I have had, like quick fix of thing. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother thing I could go into with you on like, this is just step one. And I'm like, well, once this works, we'll go to this. But Google ads really have been super helpful. Um,
Okay.
yeah, Google. I
I mean, that's like today's Yellow Pages. So of
yeah,
course people are going to go,
uh-huh,
ugh, and it's going to pop up.
yeah.
That's what I need.
I just
I
wish I
need
would
to
have
do
known
that
about it
too.
before, because instead I've spent thousands of dollars on other things that haven't worked that I've been promised. I hate to say it, in the tech world, I've been promised the world and then it's taken a couple months of going through it. And then I'm like, okay, like what's happening? And then it's like, you're almost like gaslit. That's like, oh, well, it's because your stuff is this. And I'm like, no, like you're supposed to be, I don't know this stuff. Like you're supposed to be helping
Supposed
me.
to figure this out for me.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I mean, it's okay. It's a trial and error thing. And I just, That's just the experience I've had, and this has worked really well. So, if you're going to do a page thing, Google Ads, I would highly recommend. On top of, are you doing events or anything like that?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of like senior expo and potlatch and all kinds of things that go on around here and in other little close towns. And
Good. That's what
so we're
I
going
said
to be
at the
doing,
beginning, how we paid our
yep.
business, like events. Events are huge in the beginning. It's exhausting when you're working too, but they're so beneficial.
What did you focus on for events? Did you focus on like B12 shots?
Yes. So
Was that
I
the
would
main?
focus on injections because a lot of people, depending on the event, they're not going to want to sit down for the time for an infusion. Some events they
Mhm.
do. It just depends. You kind of figure out what events work and what don't. Um, but we did a lot of injections, so B12. Just give me an event you're doing soon, and I could tell you like what I would do.
Yeah, so I think the next is going to be the senior expo, which it's more of like the seniors in the community that come together and they get like flu shots and B12 would
The
probably be a big
wellness.
one for them. Hmm.
Okay. So what I have found with events, some people offer all sorts of injections. I have found events it's easier to keep your menu very small to where people don't have 1,000 options and they get overwhelmed and they're like, bye. So I would do B12. Vitamin D is really good too, especially with the elderly people. It helps with, bone health, immune system. Like that would be very good. Both of those are actually really great. Typically, I mean, we charge $25 per injection. Um, Sometimes at events, depending on it, I'll like make it $20 instead of 25. Just, I mean, 25 isn't very much. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to do that. And then I normally offer one or two infusions. I mean, sometimes we would have, 4 or 5 people get it, but normally it's more of an educational thing. But for something like that, I would either do what month is that you're doing it?
That one is in September.
Oh, like this coming September?
That's coming. Yeah.
I would do, you could even do, I usually have a low price one for people who are like, I don't want to spend, whatever it is. So you could even just do like an energy and hydration and just do like normal saline and B12 for like
Hmm.
99. That's what I would do. That's what I do currently at one of our places. And we go to like, I'll get to that in a minute. The other thing you could offer, and I think it'd be very beneficial, would be like an immune system one, especially that's like, ramping up viral season. And so typically
Right.
tell people like it's so important to work on it before you get sick and then your body's playing catch up. And then, but I would do like an energy hydration and then like an immune system one. And then typically the infusions I will discount. So like our immune system one is 199. I mean, I'll even go down to like 149 or 150, but think about it. You don't have to do that. But my thought is I'm not having to go to people's houses. And so if I can get more people
Right.
here, then I would rather do
It's
that.
cheaper. Mm.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. And then the other thing, yeah, so I mean, really, that's all that I would probably offer there. I think it would make it easier. And some other events that I have done. So we actually I've partnered with a business that is in my city that's more wellness based too. They just don't offer infusions. It's a red light business or company. And so
Hmm.
I just go there once a month and offer services. If you're going to do something like that, that's like recurrent, I have found several times, like, don't get discouraged if the first month or two you either don't do anything or you do one or two because people are
Hmm.
skeptical and they're like,
Yeah.
who are you? I don't trust you. And it takes a little bit
Hmm.
of time of them seeing you to be like, oh, like, what are you doing? So
Obviously, it's working. Whatever you're doing, you're here
yeah,
again.
yeah, yes.
Oh yeah.
And B12 is a really good thing because people typically feel more energy the next day, anyways, especially what form of B12 do you give?
Cyano.
Okay.
So I call it cyano.
What pharmacy do you use? Do you use Olympia?
I have Olympia as a backup, but I have a pharmacy that just opened up out of Lindale. That pharmacist who opened it worked with us in the hospital.
Okay.
So it's like an independent.
Oh, it's local.
Hmm.
I'm so jealous. I wish I had a local pharmacy. I have to ship
Oh,
everything in.
well, he's not. No, no, he's not local. He used to be local. Now he's in
Oh,
Lindale, which is about an hour from here.
do they have methylcobalamin?
I think so. I've
I've
got
been
two of them. Hang on.
okay.
Yes, I've got
Okay.
both. Yeah.
So what I would do is I have found cyanocobalamin isn't bad. It's just patients don't
Isn't
normally.
that the
Yes,
synthetic one?
yes.
Yeah.
And so what I have found is if I have patients that will say, I've gotten B12 and it doesn't do anything. And I'm like, normally it's because they receive the cyanocobalamin and just the way your body breaks it down, they just don't get as much out of it. We will give methylcobalamin, and I would say 8 out of 10 patients the next day are like, wow, like I do feel a difference. And I'm like, I told you. So methylcobalamin, I personally think is the best. And especially if you ever have a patient tell you, like, I have I can't remember the name of it, but it's a methylation disorder. They have to have the methylated form in order to be able to even like absorb it. Fun fact.
Absorb it.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that's good to know for sure.
It's gonna drive me
Yeah,
crazy.
that's the one I've been using the most of. I don't know why I had both of them. I just felt like I needed both of them. And
Yeah,
then I found out later that the other one is
yeah.
synthetic.
And I mean,
And I thought,
it's not
it's
terrible.
not horrible.
Right.
Right. It's
It's
just
not
it
gonna
didn't work as efficient.
correct. And that's a big thing, especially for like new patients. If they feel better the next day, then they have like a correlation of it working. And so that's why we always do a free B12 too. And I always educate too, like, hey, this is going to be a quick fix overnight, but especially the monthly infusions, you're not going to start noticing energy until a couple months in. So it's recommended to do the infusion or the B12 with it, because clearly you're coming to me because you're fatigued. So that's just what we do a lot of. What has been the most challenging part of running your infusion business so far?
Balancing the hospital with the running of the business, being the only person in the business.
Yes.
I get phone calls day and night. I'm mid IV insertion. I'm recovering. I'm circulating. I'm whatever, and I'm having to hit the button, and it's going straight to the voicemail, and sometimes it's overflowing, and it's just, and then trying to call people back. You don't recognize, of course, their number. Sometimes it's. I've gotten a lot of since the LLC was formed, which is the first thing I ever did was that. I've gotten a lot of like junk and spam, and so you never can really tell. That's been challenging. It's trying to do both. I think at some point I'm gonna have to like take the leap, and it's gonna be stressful.
Have you thought about hiring a nurse as like a contractor?
No, because I'm not busy enough yet. Now, I've just launched in the last 6 weeks, so I feel like we're gaining momentum, and I feel like that if in the future I get enough to feel like I could employ or at least contract with someone, then I would. I mean, I know plenty of nurses around here, and there's actually a couple of infusion businesses around here. One other, she's brick and mortar, but she doesn't do a whole lot of mobile. She, you just go to her, and so that would be the challenge. But right now, it's just balancing the hospital and
can I tell you my opinion?
needs.
You can totally do what you want with it. So that was my big concern in the beginning. I was like, I'm not going to hire a nurse until I'm at least like full some days. And then I don't know, it just hit me that like, okay, I have people reaching out to do infusions whenever I can't do it because I'm working. And so I actually hired a nurse like 2 months in, and I feel like it sounds more scary than what it is, but I just hired her as a 1099 contractor, and I was very like upfront, and I was like, hey, I am new. I don't even know like what you're going to be available for, or like I just don't know. Would you want to be kind of like on call and just if I have an infusion pop up, be like, hey, or like, hey, I work this day. Do you want to be like, do you want me to text you if something comes up? So you don't have anything like super formal. And like the way I pay my nurses is 25% of each infusion, and then $6 per stop. So if they have like 3 infusions at one location, it's just $6 for that stop, not 18. And then they get to keep 100% tips. So that is something I did in the beginning. And the next step that I just took, like literally 2 months ago, is I hired a nurse that we split days. So she's on call, just, I'm gonna make this up, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're closed on Sundays. So that took me a little bit to get to, because I was like, I have her on call 3 days and she doesn't work another job. And so like for me, that's what I was like, I feel like I need to be busier.
Right.
And I feel like we're at that point now. But in the beginning, if you're very upfront about it, some nurses are, fine with that, because they're like, well, I just want something on the side. I don't even want anything majorly, and you can help more patients even when you're at work, but just a thought. You definitely don't have to, but that's something I really battled with too.
Oh, that eventually, yeah, that's definitely on the radar. Just, at first you're just trying to like look at your monthly expenses and
Oh,
like,
oh yeah.
mileage and
Yes.
um,
But just random thing to think about in the future. I will say another thing because I was kind of like, well, how do I do? Do I let them keep supplies at their house? What do I do? When I was at that point, my nurse had to come here and get everything
mhm,
fixed. And now I'm like, okay, we have an inventory system that, we use. But at that point, maybe I have a trust issue. I had a hard time just letting people keep stuff at their house and not having an inventory system because you want to make sure
yeah,
that the patient's getting the right amount, or if anything's disappearing, you have no idea. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
right,
it's
right.
fine.
And of course you have a cookbook, I'm sure, a little recipe book that's, laid out. Did you put that in the self-paced?
I
You
think it
did,
is
didn't
there.
you? Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
I
Yeah.
think it's at the
Okay.
bottom under protocols. I think.
Under protocol. Yeah.
Yes, it's in
So
there.
another thing I found is that when I set up Jane, they have like a blanketed consent area. And I didn't recognize that the consent to treat was not in there originally. Like you've got to go to your lawyer to get that. I didn't
Mm,
realize that. So of course I'm like, back to the lawyer.
yes,
Okay.
I have one in my self-paced. There's a
I
sample. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I
Okay,
looked there first.
I need to change the name because I think I have it labeled sample consent. So people I think are looking for consent. But there is a sample consent, and I mean it's the same one we use. And again, I mean maybe that ship sailed because you already have yours, but I need to change my name of that because I definitely have one in there. So
Okay. I'll
yeah.
double look again and see if I can find one. But all the people that I've treated, they've already done all the other consents. The consent for no show, no call or whatever. All
Yep.
that stuff is in there. It's just not you would think the first thing that would be in there would be a consent to treat, and that
Mhm.
just wasn't. So
Right.
when you figure this stuff out, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
learning, learning, learning the whole
One
way
other
through.
thing that I added in the self-paced not long ago, like probably like 2 weeks ago, that might be helpful. When I like officially hired the nurse that I have now, I have I put together standard operating procedures for like everything we do in our business. So like how you're gonna mix the medication, how you're gonna reach out to the patient before and after, like everything. It's like 40 something pages. I added that in there. So if it's something that I know it might be helpful to
Yeah.
you to be like, oh, I don't even know.
Absolutely. At least to get a jump start on this stuff because
Yeah,
again, it's just me and here
yeah,
I am just one patient at a time working
yeah,
through it. So yeah,
good.
that's awesome. I'll look at that.
But yeah, okay. Well, I think that is. I mean, that's all. We killed it. I think we talked for like look at us, 30 minutes.
Look at us go.
I know.
See,
I know.
all
Well,
good.
I'm so
I
glad that
will
I
say
was.
one thing. I
Oh
will
yeah.
say one thing before we leave. I was told by a very wise person that when you get the passion to do something, there are no brick walls, only hurdles. And as long as you can jump through hurdles, you're going to make it.
Hmm.
So when that person told me that, I thought, well, okay, then
Let's
let's
do it.
go. And
Yep.
it's been lots of hurdles, but there's no brick walls. Just know there's no brick walls.
Yep. And that's the biggest thing I feel like with marketing too. I know I've gotten so defeated. Like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what else to do. Even though we have patients coming in, I want a system that's working. Like that's how I feel
Yeah.
like things are going well. And finally, it's just gotten to where like, okay, this didn't work. What else can I go look and see? And I've there's always an answer out there. It's just
Hmm.
if you're gonna find it and if you want to find it, or if you're like, this is my time to be like, I'm done. But
Yeah.
so anyway,
No, girl, not with all the
without
money you spend. No,
I
no,
know,
no.
I
There's
know.
a certain amount of money that you spend that you're obligated. Like
Oh no.
you're not gonna back down.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
exactly what you mean. Well, I hope that nurses that I've listened to this today have, been given some hope. And if this is something that you want to do and like truly want to, you 100% can do it. And obviously, I have a course that breaks everything down. All the information's below in the bio. As someone who's gone through it, did you feel like it was helpful on a scale of 1 to 10? All the nursing things.
Absolutely. Absolutely a 10, 10, 10 plus. If you just listen and take hints and do your own research, you'll be just fine.
Good, good. Well, thank you again for coming on today. And till next time.